Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. And today, I'm excited to bring you a brand new interview episode. My guest today is Becca Powers, an award-winning Fortune 500 sales executive, motivational speaker, best-selling author, life career transformation coach, and a kundalini yoga teacher, not to mention a mom and a wife. With over 20 years of corporate experience, her career boasts Fortune 500 giants such as Cisco, Dell, and Office Depot. Her career is filled with trials and triumphs, which she boldly shares to inspire employees and employers to create environments where the individual can thrive both personally and professionally. And her philosophy of people before profits is part of her core beliefs, which she integrates into her work. And I absolutely love that philosophy. It's something that I strongly believe in as well. And that's why I'm so excited to have Becca on the show today. So welcome, Becca. And
yes,
thank you so much for being here on my show today.
Yes, you're welcome. And I'm so excited to talk to you too.
Becca, I read that at one point in your life, you nearly lost everything, your marriage, your sanity, and your good relationship with your kids. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you got to that point in your life and how you turned things around?
I'd love to. And so I'll start with the fall. I'll start with the fall and we'll go into the rise. So, for me, and I know we had talked a little bit about like the audience and that there's a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are hustling and trying to build their businesses, but there are ways to do that with sustainable success rather than maybe burning yourself out at both ends and things like that. So I preface that because it took me a long time to learn that success can come without sacrifice. And rewinding the tables back, I've always been very driven. I've been a corporate gal, but I've also always had a side business. So I'm an entrepreneur always and forever too. And so I'm running. I love hustle. I love, achieving. I love impact. I love making money. I love all the things. But back in 2013, I chased my ideals and my beliefs. I prioritized them more than I prioritized myself. And in doing so, I missed out on motherhood. I was chasing goals and beliefs so hard. And I just want to take that back a moment, and we can go into a conversation too if there's anything that I'm saying that you're like, yeah, I want to comment on. But, as I pursued this belief of people before profits, I actually left Dell. I was a regional sales manager at Dell. I left Dell to go to a company that had a similar philosophy. And in this role, I wanted to make a difference so much that I did start sacrificing my well-being. I started working 12-hour days. I started overcommitting myself. I was on like every project that I could be on. I had my hands in everything. And so here I am thinking that I'm doing good for, doing all the right actions for all the right reasons. Meanwhile, fast forward 3 years in this role, I come home from work one day. My kids were in middle school. I have 2 kids. My husband has 2 kids. We've been raising a blended family for 13 years. At this time, they were all in middle school. I come home from work one day, and it's not one of my best moments, but I come home from work one day. I worked a 12-hour day. I was absolutely exhausted. The kids run up to me, and they're so happy to see me. Like, Mom, let me tell you about our day. And I looked at them, and I said, can I put my freaking purse down? Yeah. And then I followed it by, I need 5 minutes. Like, just give me 5 minutes. And I remember the look in their face. I remember them rolling their shoulders forward because they felt shamed, like that they even approached me. And I honestly can't tell you how many times I had done that before, but this time I saw it. This time, like, time slowed down and I saw every reaction, and it made me question, like, who am I becoming? And is this the mother that I want to be? And is this how I want to continue operating my life? And so that night, I always say it's my bathroom floor moment, but after I got the kids in bed and I was reflecting on everything, I fell to the bathroom floor in complete like devastation, depletion, depression, even, like, just, this is not the life I wanted to live. And even though I was doing things for all the right reasons, it wasn't equating and equaling the outcomes that I wanted. So from there, I kind of did like my prayer out to the universe, like, I need help. I am doing this all wrong. And that's when and this is how I ended up writing my book too. But when I left Dell, my VP of sales at that time had told me that he was really proud of all the reasons that I was moving forward, and told me that I was the CEO of my own life. And so as I'm broken on the bathroom floor, I remembered this. And it was that remembrance that helped me transition from feeling, I say, like, powerless to powerful. And so I was able to embrace that theme and rise up. But that's kind of the backstory to how I learned things.
Yeah, that's a great story. And thank you so much for sharing. And I totally understand how hard it is sometimes to get your ducks in a row and get your priorities straight, because we all have so many different roles that we play. We have all these things that are important to us, and sometimes we just get stuck in a rut, and if we don't pay close attention, it can lead us down a path that leads us to where we don't want to go, right?
Yes.
And I know that so many, as you mentioned before, so many high achievers out there believe that you have to sacrifice something that's really important to you in order to make it in this world and to succeed. So apart from the story you already told, how have you seen this belief play out in your own life or in the lives of people that you have worked with?
Yeah, well, that's, I see it all the time. I see it all the time, especially in high achievers, because high achievers are my jam. I'll give you one example. She was one of my former team members. I was her manager. She was on my sales team, but now she is off doing her own thing, and she's been one of my clients. But in her pursuit for success, she cut off competitive dancing. She's in her 30s. She's like, oh, I'm too old for that now, And, what I've learned in my rise is that the more I allow myself to have passions and hobbies and things that, like, set my soul on fire, the more successful I am. So I really don't have to sacrifice anything. So to answer your question, like, one of the suggestions I had for her as an example was, maybe you should be dancing. Let's see, maybe just try it, experiment, see what happens. And the thing that happened is she started working a little less, but she started being more successful. And now she's, I think, quadrupled her income in 2 years or something exciting like that. But I see it all the time. We do think that, especially in that high achiever profile, that we have to sacrifice in order to succeed. And it's just not true.
Yeah, I really agree with that, because energy is kind of like a limited resource. And if you don't find ways to recharge and bring the fun back into your life, right? What's the point? What's the point? Do you want to be miserable and, earn a lot of money? Is that really the goal?
Yeah, because, like, that's how I ended up on the bathroom floor. Like, sure, I was making good money. I was making 6 figures, but what point does it serve when I don't even have energy to pull myself off the floor?
Exactly. And I know that this belief is often really hard to give up, because We all know that life can get so complicated, and we might just feel torn between all those different roles that we play. And we want to be the best mom and a badass entrepreneur and the best wife and a great athlete or whatever else you want to do. And that's when things can get so overwhelming and exhausting. And I totally agree with you that you don't have to choose and sacrifice what's important to you. But in the end, as I said, time and energy are limited resources. So we all need to make sure that we get our priorities straight, right? So what are your best tips for creating a life that really reflects our values and priorities?
I want to just take the lead from what you just said. It is about establishing priorities. One thing that I notice in high achievers and in the entrepreneur profile is that we have like 20.
And if you have 20, you don't have priorities, right?
Yeah, then that's it. It's just like there's so many. And that's what creates like the overwhelm and the overextension and the overcommitment that puts us in that burnout space. So what I have found for myself and working with other individuals is maybe if you can reduce that to the top 3 to 5 and just really execute well on those. And then with the caveat is that you're at the top of the list. Your well-being is first. Yeah. And if you see your well-being starting, like your energy starting to go, your health starting to go, that means that you have put tons of priorities above yourself, and it's probably time to recalibrate. It's one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
Yes, absolutely. So important because health is really the first wealth, right? If you're not healthy, you can't enjoy your life. You can't run a profitable business. Everything suffers when your health suffers, right?
Sure does. And the second thing I'd like to say to that is boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries. And what I learned, I really found a positive spin on boundaries that I think people find very fascinating because boundaries are scary for some people. But as I started shifting my formula, so to speak, I was prioritizing myself. And again, the top 3 to 4 things that I really meant a lot to me. And life started giving me more time and space. But as life started giving me more time and space, then it was up to me to honor that. Right. And so I had to stop saying yes to everything. Like I'm a yes person. I'm an entrepreneur. Like I got that spirit. I'm like, yes, 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 and yes. But the yeses often put me in overcommitment. So now I pause first and see if this is a true yes or if this is a knee-jerk yes. And if the yes is going to if the yes makes me sacrifice something that I'm not willing to sacrifice, then I have to say no. But what has been very interesting is that instead of giving a hard no, especially in business life, I normally give a suggestion like, I can't, but maybe somebody else can. Or I know this resource that might be good for you. I can't, but this. And as I've redirected, it helped me become a mentor because I'm providing space for other people who might need to rise up or gain experience or something like that. And that was an unexpected positive outcome to setting boundaries that made me feel really good about.
That is a great tip. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, some people might listen to this and realize that they are not where they want to be and that they are maybe chasing the wrong goals. Simultaneously, they might feel really stuck because they have already invested so much time and money and energy into getting to where they are today. So what would be your advice to those people who feel stuck right now and don't know how to pivot and realign all those moving pieces?
Yeah, so it's complicated and also achievable. So I just want to acknowledge the hard. But as you look at, here's the thing. I think I want to back up for a little bit. All of it's hard. If you don't make the hard decision and admit that things aren't working right now, eventually you're going to continue down the path and things are going to get harder. And as things get harder, it's harder to clean up. So if you are at that brink and you're stuck right now, I encourage you for your own well-being, like do the hard thing. we can do hard things. Like Glennon Doyle says that all the time. We can do hard things, but just maybe admit that you're off course and then try to figure out what on course looks like. My transformation took 2 years. So I don't want to sit here and say like, you're going to be able to wave a magic wand and tomorrow you're going to be this whole new person. It's a commitment. But what I can say is as you reshift your priorities and stay committed to those top 3 or 5, I reevaluate mine, by the way, every 3 to 6 months because our priorities shift. And so if I stay committed, kind of like how you're saying, what if someone gets stuck? When I got stuck, it was because I was committed to the same priorities and never shifted. Meanwhile, my priorities and values shifted within me and I stayed committed to a 3-year-old plan. Right. And so I would say, give yourself permission to evolve. And if you have gotten it wrong, just give yourself permission to admit it. Like, hey, I screwed up. I've made some wrong decisions, but guess what? I'm capable. I'm smart. I can resource and move forward. And as you start doing that and allowing those choices to take root, your self-confidence grows too.
Yeah, I think it's so important what you said there about just acknowledging where you're at, because it sucks to say, okay, I'm not where I want to be. It's really hard. And sometimes we can, find all those excuses. Or sometimes I've also found that people, all the high achievers out there, they are so focused on endurance and perseverance that they can be in denial for a very, very long time, just thinking that everything will work out in the end. But if you find that you're going in the wrong direction, it's time to shift and turn around, right? Because even if you've gone in the wrong direction for a very long period of time, it's always better to stop and change direction than to just go on in the wrong direction, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I love what you said too. It actually gave me the goosebumps because it's so true. And there's a part of what you said that I just want to re-highlight in maybe a different way for the listeners, is it was my inner resilience that broke me. Because I powered through for 3 years instead of acknowledging that I was off course and that I might have made a wrong decision and that maybe I needed to start a different business or start a different job. Instead of admitting failure, I persevered into the point that I crumbled. And so that's one of my big call outs is like, don't wait till you break, like catch it.
I've been there. I've done that too. I waited so long that I found myself burned out, depressed, having panic attacks, and then finally suffering from cancer. So it took that much to stop me. But that's when I realized that I was chasing the wrong things. And I was just making so many fear-based decisions that kept me in that state that was unhealthy and wasn't getting me to where I wanted to go.
Yeah. And I relate to that so much. And I think that's an important part to highlight is that you highlighted the big C, that you ended up with cancer. I did not end up with cancer, but I did end up with autoimmune disease. And so there's a really big piece here that when we persevere to the point of not honoring our bodies any longer, that they get sick. Yeah. And you don't want to have to be in a position where you're having to recover from cancer and you're thinking, am I going to live or am I going to die? Or in my case with autoimmune disease, like, okay, there's a big question mark. How do you heal from it? I don't know, but I know I'm fatigued every day. I know I'm dizzy. I know I can't think because I have clouds in my thoughts, and trying to clean that up when there's not a lot of information available is really hard. So I'm with you. I'm like, if I could help people not get to autoimmune disease or cancer, then I feel like I've done a really big task in the world.
Same here. I hope people really listen to this message today and act on it because you really don't want to go down that path. And I think for me, it was really clear that the cancer was related to my mental health as well. It's just like this, your body's last resort. When you don't listen to it, it makes you listen. It's like they say, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will be forced to make time for your illness. Yes. And that's something that nobody wants.
No, and you gave me the goosebumps again, because especially being a kundalini teacher, I learned a lot about health and harmony and stuff like that. And I now that I've had to recover from autoimmune disease, 2 anxiety disorders, chronic stress, I got diagnosed with chronic stress, like all the things that I've had to heal from, I look at what we go through as high achievers a little differently now. We strive for balance, and we end up with like our calendars full from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. in this drive for creating this perfect life that really creates more stress. And you mentioned something that made me want to talk about this, is just our health. Like, I now look at balance as how I feel rather than what I see or what I do. There's a harmony that takes place in our body when we're going in the right direction. We won't feel like, when we're in disharmony, we're going to feel tension in our shoulders. We're going to be clenching our jaws. We're going to be having panic attacks, depression, high anxiety. And when we're in harmony, we feel relaxed, we feel in the flow. And so I've kind of shifted from thinking about balance to thinking about harmony. Am I in harmony with myself, or am I in disharmony? And has really helped me stay in the pursuit of success without all the sacrifice.
I love that. That's something that's very important in my work with my clients as well. This just getting into that feeling of flow and ease. Because if you have to push yourself all the time, and it doesn't even mean that maybe your calendar isn't full, maybe you're not booked completely, but you still feel drained and you still feel like you're low on energy, then there's something wrong there. There's something that you need to change, because if you're always feeling exhausted, there's something going on. And you need to figure out what that is and eliminate it. Right?
Yes, agreed. And that's like goes back to being stuck. You know, sometimes it's just admitting that one of your decisions or one of the situations that you're in is no longer a fit.
Yeah. And the next thing I wanted to talk about with you is your experiences with leading big teams, because that seems to compound the problems, because we all know that people have different personalities and communication styles and preferences and so on. So what's your best advice for business owners on how to build great teams and create a company culture that's supportive and inclusive?
I think it starts with valuing your people. And I know that sounds like cliche or something, but what I mean by that is when I've had teams up to 110 people and as small as 6. And while I've like loved everybody and respected everybody, I didn't always value them. And what I mean by that is that I might have micromanaged their work a little bit. I might have tried to make them, in trying to be a good leader, like, again, all of it with good intention, nothing ever bad, but I might be like, oh, you know, Sally is not very good at customer connection and building relationships, so I'm going to teach her how to be really good at customer relationships. But maybe she's really good at accounting, you know, and what I mean by value is understanding where your employees add the most value to your organization. Because when they're in their space of feeling valued, appreciated, and like they're thriving, they're going to work for you so much harder. And that took a long time for me to understand, because I wanted to develop my people, again, with good intention, and make them strong across all the things. And I'm going to digress for 1 second, because I'd like to tell this story, but I'm like, could you imagine like Beyonce, right? We all know that she's like this massive diva, one of the world's biggest superstars, but like, what if Beyonce like was mediocre at tennis as she was a teenager, right? And everyone made fun of her. So she's like, I'm going to hire the best coaches. I'm going to be the best tennis player. And she dumps all this time into tennis. And at the end of everything, she's still just mediocre, right? And instead of developing her skills in singing and dancing and performing, she was wasting her time in tennis. And we would have missed having, you know, one of the best performers of all time, right? And I say that because bringing that back to your question is, as a leader, that I, again, always wanted the best for everybody, but I also wanted them to be the best in many things. And I have learned that understanding the employees and helping them develop in their strengths and valuing what they're good at helped me grow my business.
Yeah, those are great tips for sure. And I think something you mentioned, that when people feel valued, they work harder for you, which is true, but they also feel less stressed. So they don't burn out as easily, right? That's another very important point there.
Yes, exactly.
Now, with all the great things that you have achieved so far, what's next on your list? So what big goal or goals are you trying to achieve within, say, the next 1 or 2 years?
So I am writing my second book right now. So I'm hoping to release that in May.
Awesome.
It's Break Up with Burnout is the title. And I'm hoping to release it in May of next year. So it's out for Mental Health Awareness Month. So that is one. And on a personal side, I would really like to I've never been to the UK, and I have a lot of family, like extended family, but my roots are Irish. And I would really like to see Ireland, Scotland, England, and all of that, and take my family. So that's one of my personal goals.
That's
to get there.
Awesome. Best of luck for writing your book. And maybe I should have you back for the book feature.
I think that would be really great, because I won't go into too much detail, but I did survey 8,000 working professionals on burnout.
Wow.
And I have two concepts that I think are unique, and I call them the unders and the overs. But it's kind of like stage 1 and stage 2 of burnout, the most unaddressed, probably because they're very internal. But when people feel undervalued, underrecognized, underappreciated, that is where burnout starts festering. Excellent. And you had mentioned feeling undervalued ends up being more stress. So I was like, yes, actually I surveyed that, and it's true.
That's awesome. And last but not least, where can our listeners find you online if they want to connect with you?
All right. So website is beccapowers.com, but the social media handles are the same across the board: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, at Becca Powers 1313.
Wonderful. Becca, thank you so much for sharing all your tips and insights and sharing your story with us today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a great interview.
Take care and talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.